this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Yes, I did bring 5.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sin versus the World. I'm Septum Sin. This is Kotobuki Jake.
Hey.
And we're here to show you what we got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
So, show them what we got.
All right. So, a smaller grouping than the last couple. Well, certainly than the last one.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I'm going to kick off with a couple. Sometimes people thin their collections, and I benefit from this. And my first couple are along those lines. Actually, I think it was my mom's thinning collection. And in this being Oscar week now, since we're so freaking early this year, I thought I'd go with the 2 films that I got that were Oscar nominees. Not this year, obviously, but in the past. First one is the film Albert Nobbs, which I believe was a double nominee for Glenn Close and I believe Janet McTeer was the other one.
It was a good film.
Couple of acting awards. It was a good film. I was not blown away by it. The way people were raving about it, I thought it was pretty dry. But it was very well made. The acting was very impressive. And I'm glad to have it.
I need to see that one again. It's on my list to get.
Right.
It's just timing and pricing.
Right.
Now, that pricing is hard to resist.
Yes, free is a good price.
So for mine, I've got one that's kind of unrelated, 2 that are Oscar nominees, and 2 anime that helped me complete a set. So, some fun stuff. So the first one is the unrelated, but a 2019 release, nevertheless. And that is Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Nice.
I actually really liked this. I enjoyed watching it, and it does a lot of throwbacks to the Askew-verse. A lot of throwbacks to the Askew-verse. There's not much difference in the... For a while, since I've got it open, since I've actually played it, I'm not going to be giving away the digital copy. But, it's kind of cool. Disc art there. And essentially... they're trying to open their own chicken and weed establishment when they get raided by the cops, and because this is in a place where it's still illegal, and then they go to court, and apparently the court has rules that they can no longer call themselves Jay and Silent Bob because the people who have the Blunt Man and Chronic rights have the rights to that name. And apparently the evil Kevin Smith is making a new Blunt Man and Chronic film, and they've got to stop him at all costs.
Is it Kevin Smith with a mustache that he twirls?
No, it's just Kevin Smith as Kevin Smith. And it's not as good as the original Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but it's still a very fun and entertaining film. It's still got a lot of the wackiness, still got a lot of the fun, quirky comedy. It's definitely a good sit back and watch. And it's amazing how many people he got back. I mean, you've got, of course, you've got Ben Affleck, and you even got Matt Damon returning as Loki. So, just in general, a good fun movie. I really enjoyed this, and I'm glad I got it. And also, I'm glad that they knocked the price down to $14.
Yeah, it's probably more than I'll end up paying for it, but yeah, that's on my to watch list, no doubt about it. I can't believe it's not up for a ton of Oscars though.
To get to Hollywood, they're gonna take the high road.
I bet they will. I bet they will. So, next up is one of those ones. You know those ones that are always so cheap, they keep looking at you and you look right back and be like, I get you tomorrow. I get you next week. And then you forget and you're like, do I have this movie? Do I have it? Turns out I didn't have this movie, and when it was given to me, I could not say no. And that was the multiple Oscar nominated film The Big Short. Which was a very good film, Adam McKay film. I do think it was a tad overrated, but I've actually read the book The Big Short by Michael Lewis. I am not a math person. I don't math well, and Lewis's book is full of technical jargon that I kind of glazed over bits and pieces of it, but his writing was so good I was able to follow along pretty well. But the movie actually does a good job of taking that book and turning it into an I mean, it's about math. Specifically, it's about shady math that the people in Wall Street and the people related to the people in Wall Street were using that basically caused the recession. And it kind of shows you from several different angles who really was to blame for this. And of course, they were not the ones that paid for it. Jerks. But this film did a really good job of that. It's got great acting. It's very fun movie about math, which is very rare for me to say. But I'm glad I have it.
Well, I've got two Oscar nominees that I'm going to present. And of course, this next one is a present nominee. Potential winner. Actually, more than likely going to be a winner.
Nice.
And that is Parasite.
Very nice.
This is of course, a film. It's a Korean film. And let's see if I can. Not very good disc art.
Nah.
It loses because of the disc art. But essentially, it's about this family that are con artists, and they all end up working towards conning this wealthy family. But some very creepy and twisted things happen that change everything forever. That's all I'm going to say about that. But if you haven't checked this out, of course, check it out.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely should before the show next week if you haven't already. And it is a film that's worth owning. I want to get it. I very much want to get it. But this is one I may get. Even one day there will be a Criterion release and I will get it. But I may not wait for that. Probably won't. Anyway, next up. Last week, we did a lot of stuff, and I did a lot of Best Friday It's the
best Friday.
It was the best Friday. Black Friday pickups. I still have more, but technically speaking, I think this does end it, and there's only a few. It's only a few. So, first up is an underrated film from the past couple years. I think not this year, but last. Clint Eastwood directed and starring film called The Mule. Or basically, he plays an old dude who breeds and raises daylilies, and his daylily farm has gone under. His relationship with his family is pretty well gone under because he was always more obsessed with daylilies than with his family, which there's no account for taste. But he goes to his granddaughter against everyone else in the family's wishes. His granddaughter still wants him to be part of the family, so he's invited to, I think it was her bridal shower or some such thing, engagement party, something along those lines. And it does not go without drama.
Yeah.
And as he's leaving, he's approached by a young man who offers him a business opportunity. And he becomes a mule carrying drugs across the country. I have mixed feelings about the film just because the subject matter hits kind of close to home. This is very close to the way things have been going. It does give you a little peek into the way the spread of black tar heroin and that sort of thing in the country. In typical Eastwood fashion, he does a really good job of presenting a story that doesn't really come down on either side of the equation, which is one thing I respect him about.
Yeah.
He's a well-known conservative, but he does not, unlike Adam McKay, who loves to beat you over the head with his politics, Eastwood leaves them on the side and just tells a story. Now, I respect that.
It takes skill in this day and age.
Yes. And this is an interesting film. It's well done. It's well acted. It's well shot. Eastwood is a very... what am I trying to say? Like, he's known for doing movies on time and under budget. So that's a good, good. And the film just kind of flew under the radar, and I think it's a shame. So I picked this up really cheap. I think it was $4 or $5, and I was like, all right.
Speaking of movies that don't leave their politics on the side, a movie that's not as likely to win, but
I have a
definitely
feeling where this one's going.
We're having Harriet.
Oh.
Harriet, which of course is a kind of story of Harriet Tubman, follows her journey from slave to freed slave. Of course, you can see the lovely disc art here. To Freedom Runner. And it is done very well acted. I really enjoyed this film. I can't wait to watch it again. Though I don't think it'll win. I think I really am glad that it got the nominations it did. And it did not take the gentle route with its portrayal of Southern slave owners. Which
is there a gentle? Should there be a gentle route?
I don't think there should be, but there are many people who feel that it should be portrayed in a gentler way these days, which is, I never thought I would think of it that way in this day and age.
The one dude that knew her from when she was young, he does get moments of humanity and whatever, but he also shows moments where he shows he's a real dick.
Oh yeah, I like it.
I mean, he's
almost cartoonishly evil in some spots.
At times.
So that's why I say it's they don't really mince words. They're like nah, bad. And then I watched on top of that the History Oversimplified's Civil War one that they released, which was hilarious, by the way, and went very well with that.
Incidentally, good example, flippin' awesome example, very good example, the need for use of music in film Oscar. Harriet was a brilliant example of that. It is up for original song, and it's a kick-ass song, but there's a ton of singing in the film, and it's really good. I mean, not just Cynthia Erivo is a singer, and she has a phenomenal voice. But the dude that played the preacher had a great voice, too. And he had, they open with him doing a gospel number. Okay, so my next one may have been one of my better pricing coups from Black Friday. This is one I've wanted for a minute. Actually, I've been wanting all the pieces of this for a minute. But when they did a combined collection, I was like, I'm getting this. But I waited and waited, and I believe my Black Friday price was about $12 or $13, which is not bad at all, for a series that was heavily lauded for its visual effects and Oscar nominated for its visual effects. Talking about the Planet of the Apes trilogy,
Oh yeah, I
the
presented that
new
not long ago.
trilogy, which of course, you got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes. And I love the cover. That's a really cool cover that they have there.
Couldn't resist the price on that.
Oh yeah, that was a really good pickup. And I've never seen these, mainly because I never got them and I just never got around to checking them out from the library. But now I really have no excuse not to.
Well, other than having a whole bunch of stuff in front.
Exactly. But this is one I want to see. I want to know what all the fuss is about. So,
Oh yeah.
and especially because, again, they really said the effects were great on this. Visual effects, by the way, being one of the categories where they really screwed up this year. Anyway, I don't know if you saw the little news item, the group that does visual effects. What do they call it?
Oh, I don't know.
But the Visual Effects Awards, we'll just call it that, gave their top award to a film that's not even nominated. If you watch this channel, you know which one I'm talking about.
I know the BAFTAs
Alita.
had one too, but not Alita.
They left Alita out in the cold too.
Yeah.
Alita had phenomenal VFX. It was up for 5 awards at this one organization, and I think won the top prize. And it's not even up for an Oscar. Okay.
Well, speaking of anime,
Yeah, technically.
I managed to finish off 2 series.
Oh.
One is hopefully finished, and the other one is most definitely finished. I finally finished off Lupin the Third Season 2
Nice.
with the 4th box set.
Okay.
Now that's pretty cool. I've been waiting for this for a long time since it was on Cartoon Network. So now I have officially all 155 episodes of this
Good deal.
season. Now, they simply need to release Season 3 and Season 5, and we'll have all the TV released here. Season 3 is pretty big series. Not as big as this one. This is the biggest of them, if I recall correctly. And I don't think Season 5 is all that big. Season 4 was, like, minuscule comparatively.
Well, 4 and 5 were much closer to being just a regular anime size. Yeah.
155 episodes.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, my last one. Speaking of anime that are not really quite anime, this is usually lumped in with the anime, even though I believe it was a Belgian production, but it was a co-production with Studio Ghibli. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those things that, again, I believe I mentioned last week, I got a couple of movies where I was like, do I have that already? And I wasn't sure. And I went ahead and got it. And it turns out, no, I did not. And I think my price was $12, which is perfectly decent. And I'm speaking, of course, about The Red Turtle,
that was a nominee.
which is a wonderful film, very wonderful film, very weird film, but like I said, co-production between Studio Ghibli and Wild Bunch, actually, with a bunch of, it was pretty much a French, Belgian, Japanese production, I think. And really well done, a lovely, simple animation, but very lovely, great music. And again, I thought I had it, but I didn't, so I'm glad I now do.
Well,
all right.
My last pickup is the completion of a series I thought was completed before, but according to ANN, has completed itself so far. There's no news that there's any more of it coming out.
Oh.
They completed the story and decided, you know what, we're going to do an epilogue story. And, of course, I'm talking about Zoku Monogatari.
Ah.
Now, of course, this is an extremely expensive Aniplex release series. I actually have watched all 6 episodes of this particular one, and it does have disc art.
Well, I should hope for the price.
Postcard. One postcard. You know what's funny is that's one of the characters that is just totally different. I mean, like, you can see how they do different characters in the world. Like, this is the character normally, and this is how it appears in the mirror world. That's kind of cool. I want to see if they have that. I mean, they actually. This is a series that is debatable in my love for it. I mean, it's well done. It's very well written. It comes across a lot like, series like Zetsubo Sensei, or what's the other series? Maria Holic. Art style and writing wise, it has a very wordy. It's very dialogue heavy, and it's all subtitles. So I kind of had to watch them a little bit because it's just your mind just misses the visuals sometimes because they're constantly stream of consciousness as moves around. In this particular one, our main character is sucked into a mirror universe, and part of it is also having to deal with the struggle of graduating and losing that identity as a student and trying to find a new identity as an individual. So, I mean, fairly good. Was it necessary? Probably not. But hey, they got another chunk of change out of it, so I guess that's how they go. And there are many people clamoring for more. Some have been hoping that the series will go on forever.
Right.
But I disagree with that line of
This is
thinking.
the show that never ends.
I mean, if you go on, going on for too long with anything, in my opinion, is a bad idea.
Yeah.
One of these days, we need to do a list of series that have gone on too long. Good series that have gone on too long.
Yeah.
Just as to show the point.
You had to throw that good series in there so you didn't...
Yeah, I mean, it has to have at least started good. So, I could still include Glee in that because it started really good.
Right.
But, any case, that's all I've got. I believe that's all you've got.
Yep.
So, hope you enjoy this. Like and subscribe, share, and of course, give us a comment on what you picked up this week. And we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye.